everybody. We have this topic on the art of navigating change in today's fast-paced world. And we have two distinguished consultants with us, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai and Dr. Harshwardhan. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's an honor and privilege to have you here at OCLF. And thank you to OCLF for giving me this opportunity to interact with these two distinguished consultants here. One of the contributing factors to this fast-paced change has been digitization, and particularly so after the COVID. And putting in the words of Bill Gates and Satya Nadella and others, what they say is that what would have otherwise taken 2 years, the digitization happened in 2 weeks because of COVID. And that's the pace at which things have changed. And add to that the advances in the technology by virtue of artificial intelligence, AI, as well as machine learning. And these have not only changed the way decisions are made at the personal level, but even at the corporate level as well. So, Harsh, to start with you, you have been in the consulting business for 30 years. So, what have been the changes that you have seen in the management paradigm which are taken this?
Is this working?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think all the things that you mentioned have had their impact. Obviously, COVID was a big shock to everybody, and people adjusted it, but I thought they adjusted it temporarily. Everybody knew it was going to go away. So, what lasting change it has been still at wait and see, because people started doing this work from home and so on, and now everybody's back. In fact, there are companies who are really pushing hard to get employees back. But I think things like AI and in India, things like payment systems have actually had very remarkable impact. And even AI, I feel that it will take time for it to show its full effect. I think at the highest level, it's allowing the organization to be more efficient. That doesn't mean all of them do become more efficient, but it's the opening of the possibilities of becoming more efficient. And there are many reasons for that. Communication are much faster and so on and so forth. I mean, just a simple example. So much of documentation is digitized now.
Yes.
I don't remember the last time I made physical document signature. Now everybody uses signatures and so on. So it looks small, but it allows for much greater efficiency in the system. Especially in the sector I work in, financial system sector. There have been dramatic changes. That said, it always intrigues me, and this is the conversation of it. If you look at measures of efficiency, and measures that banking sector uses a lot, which is called cost of intermediation, which is just basically cost of doing banking. It actually hasn't come down much.
Oh.
Now, the reason for that is that one set of costs are being replaced by other set of costs. And so I think we are still in the process of transition, where maybe the real impact will be seen after 5-10 years. But yes, it is making quite significant changes to the way most businesses are run. And that has also implication on changes in terms of way people work and so on, but we can discuss that.
Yeah. Many thanks for the insight here. Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, CHANAKYA, as it is, modern day CHANAKYA. CHANAKYA wrote so many sutras. So, what's his take on data-based decision making? Because as he also mentioned right now, that there's a lot of data which is digitized and is accessible also at the fingertips. So, what is did Chanakya mention about it, and what does it significant?
Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
I'll start with Ashutosh, please.
He's guiding PhD students. I know his faults, because I was. So, in fact, I'll start with the Chanakya Sutra. It comes with the Artha Shastra, book number 1. I quoted in Sanskrit and then I will explain the English. Sankhya Yoga Lokayata iti Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki is the science of leadership and decision making. It's got 3 pillars or 3 courses: Sankhya, Yoga, and Lokayata. From one angle, it is called philosophies of India. You study darshanas. Sankhya is a philosophy. Yoga is a philosophy. Now Patanjali Yoga Sutra is getting popular. And of course, Lokayata. Now, if you look at Chanakya's viewpoint, Sankhya actually means Sankhya, data. Think about it, 2400 years ago, actually Chanakya told that no decision can be great without data. But remember, only data is not enough. Otherwise, data crunching is a profession now, right? What does Amazon do? I think everybody is only talking about data. Well, data is the new oil. Yes. So let me tell you, data can be confusing. And a lot of data analytics are going through psychological problems. True or not? But data is a starting point of strategy. But data is not the ending point of strategy. Number crunching is good, but number crunching doesn't guarantee results. And today is the overload of data. That's why second step is yoga. The calm and quiet mind with data can actually give practical results called lokai. So Chanakya spoke from data but beyond data to achieve results. So coming back, Sankhya, you require data, and it is said, if you don't get data on the table, please don't waste my time. Right? So I think all leaders work with data. So we have vice chancellors right now.
Yes.
I mean, leaders have to be number crunchers. आपको कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं पता नहीं अरे पता नहीं if a banker doesn't understand numbers or maybe somebody like me how many books have you written exactly 22 I get a sales report and then I say some books have been sold whatever it has to be factually correct so data is a starting point Chanakya said that you have to be good at it but remember one thing data can be maddening that's where leadership comes in like for example we're talking about COVID I tell you the biggest impact that COVID had was on the education system. Yes. The teachers went online, the parents went online, and so did the students, right? And do you know the massive data that was consumed by the education sector? I hope you remember this company called Vitals.
Yeah.
You remember this company, or rather, it's all there still, called Lenskart. So massive data. We have no clue how much the education fraternity has worked. And the second one is the governance itself. Well, we only talk about the COVID part of it. But I know so many IPS, IAS officers, it was not easy for them. Imagine like in Nagpur city or in Mumbai city. Think about the kind of people there to ensure security, food distribution. So, coming back, they did not know the data, but they were saying yoga. Yoga is not only, they're saying very beautiful saying about yoga. Yoga is not just twisting the body, but straightening the mind. So Shant Rehna is also part of leadership. So start with data, but don't end with data.
Right. Thank you very much. And in the process, you also answered the second question which I had in my mind. So thank you very much for that insight into what Chanakya has talked about. We all know that some of the things which have really changed in the recent past have been those who are management students, they probably understand it much better than me. It was a concept of 4 P's, a product, price, place, and production. That is what the concept was. That moved from 4 P's to 4 C's. Like a product has to be a customer solution. And when we talk about customer solution, I'm sure we've been handling many customer solutions. And more than that, they have to be acceptable also. The scenario has changed quite a lot. Now, when you have been offering these solutions to them, they go beyond financial and are uniquely tailored, pragmatic, the holistic, and enduring also. So, what are the biggest factors that you take into account while giving these kind of solutions to your corporate clients?
You mean my solution to as consultant or
Yes.
my client solution to their
No. You give solutions to the clients as a consultant.
So, largely my work revolves around making my clients function better. My clients are always companies. Yes. So how can they do their business better? A lot of that is around things like processes, things like organization design, the organization design properly. And since I work in financial services, I don't deal with products. I deal with solutions.
Solutions.
Loan is a solution. Unfortunately, it's a business where nobody actually likes the product. If you go to take a car loan, nobody wants a car loan. You want a car. Nobody wants a home, but they want a home. The loan comes as an undesirable adjunct to that what is that they want. So therefore, a lot of work is around how you make it least painful for the customer. So that's where a lot of my work, but bulk of my work with my client actually focuses more on the functioning of the organization. And what has changed there is that technology now enables many more things. You can be much leaner, much faster, and so on. And so, for example, talking in abstract, one of my clients is I'm sorry, going to be a bit technical, it's a debt market investment bank, which means they help companies issue bonds and then trade in them and so on. So, a lot of my work is improving their own risk management. Because in this process, they have to take a lot of risk, which has implications of capital there. So, how do you control the risk? And it has partly technology issue and partly analytical issue. You have to process a huge amount of data every day, every week in order to do that. So, that's where my work takes to. What my client does with their client is a different.
So, we're talking about.
No, I also get involved in that, but that's a different set of
issues. Yes. I think we are quite happy with the mics now. As I follow up with this and Dr. Pillai can use this as well. But all these solutions that you give to the clients are customized to individual organizations' needs.
Yeah, look, organizations are like human beings. They are organic. So they are not just mechanicals. They are not like the engine of a car. You put a gear and something changes. Because they are filled with people, emotions. So you have to take that into account. So what works for organization A may not work for organization B. Correct. And therefore, when you recommend change, you have to take into account the capacity of that particular organization to absorb change, to implement it, so on. And I always say changing an organization like crossing the river. You can't abandon it halfway through. You are either better off on this shore or that. So when you start, you have to make sure it goes to the other side. In the middle of the river, you can't say, sorry, now it will be too bad, I want to go back. Because you are going to be in worse position. And so, before recommending change, you have to actually think through these issues. Is this organization capable of pulling this off? Will it actually do it? Who's going to be in charge of this change? And who are those individuals that he or she have the ability to take it to the conclusions? All of those issues matter. So it's not a mathematical problem solving that you put some values into the equation and outcome comes. And that's the reason I think I run a living. Because if it is easy, then you could program it, so the program will tell you what we should do.
Yes.
People like me survive it because it's not that easy.
It's not that easy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not, you cannot customize the solutions for the organization. There are different problems, there are different cultures also. But I think Chanakya did take this thing into account much earlier. And today we say that one solution is not there for every organization. So this Chanakya's take on customizing the solutions to the organization as a whole and also to some extent to people.
I will use a management term here called mass customization. How many of you heard about it? I'll give an example. Do you receive emails? Initially it was a blast. Today it is mass customization. You get your name? Dear Prashant, happy birthday. Do you think it is customized for you? It is automated for you, customized. I'll tell you, for a good leader, you should understand this concept. Because working with a mass, but it's also customizable. For example, when you go to a doctor, this is a mass prescription. अभी ठंडी है सब कपड़ा पहन लो, गर्म पानी पी लो. Mass. But when a student or a patient comes to him, it is customized, isn't it too? So if you can balance these, and I think the best person who can learn mass customization is the mother. She will prepare food for everyone. उनको पता है इसको चीनी ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है, इसको तीखा ज्यादा लगता है. And she understands even identical twins have to be customized, isn't it? Everybody is unique, and one size doesn't fit all. Yet everybody requires clothes. So you should have this mass. At the same time, when you deal, you're not dealing with only human beings, you're dealing with emotions. And therefore, the real success of a person is that can you connect to the person, not just communicate to the person. Please understand, today in a world of over-communication. But can you connect? That connection is a very emotional term. So just coming back, Chanakya spoke and gave this advice to the king that he has to be a mass customizer. And how to do that? I'll give you a simple example. If you go to any particular fort in India or palace in India, you will be surprised there are two places the king meets people. And one is called Diwane Khas and one is called Diwane Aam. Aam matlab aam janta ko milna. A lot of politicians also do that. Aam janta is mass. But when you have to strategize, you cannot do it with the mass. That's to be the class. And that's Diwane Khas, that's Mantri Parishad. Like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had Ashtaprada. It is mass? No. The soldiers are mass. So Senapati is the one who understands that we have to inspire a whole crowd or a group of soldiers, right? That's why it's called Senapati. But a Raja is above the Senapati. He is to understand the masses and make strategies with the classes. So that's Chanakya.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful report. Not only this Chanakya, but we are taking it beyond Chanakya as well to that extent. What we have seen is that even the leadership also has changed. And the way the organizations were doing that earlier, and now the way they are doing them. If we talk about the customization and leadership, earlier it used to be more of a dogmatic leadership. And from there we have moved to inspirational leadership. So these concepts, which apparently are new, but were there, like IQ, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, and importantly for a leader to have a spiritual quotient also. So how has the leadership changed in the organization?
So I don't think that earlier the leadership was dogmatic and how it is now. I mean, every time you have different types of leaders. Different types of leaders succeed. My own experience is that organization adjusts to certain leadership style. So the single quality to my mind, the extent I have seen companies for 30 plus years is leaders have to be consistent. Because then what happens, the organization adjusts. If you are inconsistent, today you reacted this way and tomorrow that way, then people today stay in the state of confusion. So if you are a dictatorial leader, you should be dictatorial all the time. People who don't like to lead the organization or people who stay would understand how to work it. If you are not a dictatorial, you are a participative type, then you have to be that all the time. The problem happens if you are dictatorial one day and participative the next day, because then the organization is in a state of confusion. And that's what results in it not performing well. So I have seen all types of leadership styles work successfully. The one single quality that I find in them is they are consistent. And secondly, they are very transparent. That I am dictatorial. People say this, you will do the way I tell you.
Yes.
So when it's somebody doesn't tell me, person will leave.
Right.
So my own view is that there are no archetypes of leaders that always succeed. They always succeed in the context and in certain type of organization. If the context changes, then for example, look, all the management thinking started after industrial revolution happened.
Yes.
Because the method of production prior to that was cottage industry,
Self-sufficient.
artisan,
Self-sufficient.
large organizations. Large organizations came into being when manufacturing process became capital intensive.
Yes.
You have to create large organizations. Now that time there was no thinking. So where did earliest management scholars look at? They looked at armies. Because armies were large. So a lot of the early thinking on management came from thinking about armies. That is where a lot of these, unity of command and all of those things kind of came out. But that was so in the armies. Right? But now what the technology has done is that it has once again changed the method of production. Now it is not based on capital level, but capital level information. You can't be dictatorial in a knowledge-based production process. Because then your engagement with you, people who are working with you is very different. It's not I command you and then I want you to think. I don't want you to do something. So that's what's now requires different kind of leadership. So I think that as the context changes, the kind of leaders that will succeed will change. But yet, that style has to be consistent and transparent. That's the quality I feel always works.
That's right. I mean, whatever you are doing, be consistent with that, so there is no cultural mismatch.
No, see, the point is there has to be an equilibrium with the organization, which means people adjust to your style.
Yes.
If you shout at me one day and next day you become very pally, I don't know how to deal with it. But if I know I made a mistake, you react this way every day, every time, then I adjust my style.
Yes.
And that's what I mean by being consistent.
So, Chanakya also talked about the similar things, like he talked about inaction itself is action. Action, of course, is there. But at the same time, there is something like forbidden action, which leader should never do. So what does Chanakya talk about the forbidden action particularly?
In fact, there's a whole chapter in Arthashastra, what a leader should not do. Everybody talks about what a leader should do. There are 21 types of activities should avoid. I'm not going to go into that because it will look my lecture. If you want, you can read my book Corporate Charm. You can 10 chapters on that. But just to give you an example, never start something bad which is not existing. Continue, that is good. A lot of leaders, when they come, they stop the old projects. Let it continue. So don't stop something which is good. Second, don't punish those people who don't deserve punishment. Power दिखाने के लिए punish करते हो. See, a lot of people want to show leadership rather than act as a leader. I mean, acting is not the filmy acting, huh? And people, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of corporate organizations, people become mad with power. दिखाना पड़ता है ना, जो दिखता है वो तो लीडर है, because I have a vehicle, I have a driver, I have some सिपाहीs. But मुझे दिखाना पड़ता है, correct? And that's why Chanakya comes in and says the highest leader is the one associated with the SQ, spiritual quotient. And you know what the training given to him? Very interesting. No leader is permanent, including you. So in our political system, 5 years minimum, a Rashtrapati, he or she was the first leader of the country. He's given 5-year term. And maximum annual term, right? We copied that from America. 2 terms. Tell me one thing, how will a leader react or act the day he sits on the chair that I am not going to be permanent? But in this 4 or 5 years, I do my best. So coming back, Chanakya said this very clearly that many things a leader should not do, including the power going to his head. Have you heard about this statement, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts? Let me tell you, nobody is permanent. And power is also not permanent. But look at it, the grace of God and you become powerful for seva, for service. Use your power, don't misuse your power.
That's again another input that there is insight rather. There are 21 forbidden actions for a leader. Right. So we have seen there have been a lot of changes happening also in leadership. But at the same time, there is also a change with respect to output. Like earlier, most of the organizations were looking forward to having the highest market share and things like that. But now today, the things have moved to market creation. Like we've seen most of these new companies, they have actually created new markets. So how are these mega opportunities identified by the corporations? With organizations?
In fact, I think corporations are actually bad at identifying market. That's why you have startups. And the reason I think corporations are bad is because they are like bureaucracies. In fact, I do work with one group where they wanted to create what they call an incubator, which is they will incubate new ideas. And they intentionally created outside of the group. Because they said if it is a part of the group, they will be burdened with all our bureaucratic process of reviews and this and that will just kill them. So that is why historically, if you look at last 50 years, large corporations have rarely brought in revenue. It's always been startups. We have disrupted years. And the reason for that is exactly this. Now, what is a large corporate is that they have capital and people, labor and capital. But now increasingly the ecosystem is developed in a manner that you have capital providers and you have also people who are willing to sort of join startups and so on. And so I don't think corporates are good at identifying opportunity. I think the clever corporates recognize this problem with them. And they said instead of trying to do it myself, I go around and find the most interesting startups and buy them. Because it's not my best, so I will find them at a stage where I think they are about to grow. In which case my system might help them.
Yes.
So I think that's what better and more clever corporates do. Corporate themselves, I think, are quite poor at finding new opportunities and developing them.
So mega opportunities are more identified.
Yeah, I mean, look at the last 20 years. Facebook did not exist in 2004.
Yes.
It was not like Microsoft created first Facebook. It began as a startup, and now it's as big as Microsoft.
Yes.
And so on and so on. You see all such examples. It's not Tesla was not created by Google as a phone. It had to create itself outside of it.
But at the same time, Chanakya has given the lifelong lessons also, particularly setting up the systems. Like I think I can say that most of the times the organization for the fear of making mistakes and not hurting the parent brand. They would like to start with a few one and then subsequently take it forward. So, how should Chanakya develop these systems?
Remember, Chanakya systems are for governance, the whole country. Let me tell you, I respect politicians, not because of the dark side of theirs, but they have to manage scale. Isn't it true? Think about managing 140 crore people. But Maharashtra managing 11 crore people. I don't know, the statistics 13 crore now?
Yeah.
Or a smallest state in India called Kerala, 3 crore people. 3 crore people? You think it's easy to manage them? हम लोग 100 लोग पहले संभाल सकते हैं. Now, what to do? That's where management systems and process comes in. And according to Chanakya, there are 3 pillars of systems in a country, state. The first is the leader itself, he or she. So, a top-down approach, ठीक करो. Because, the person at the top is very essential. When I say the person is not one, but also the team. Today we can call the board, isn't it? So the board of governance or the board members, whatever. The top has to be very clear that there is a scale. And there is a saying in governance, till the last man in the last village is not happy, the work of a government is not done. ऊपर बैठा है, no connection with the last person. In fact, I tell principals of colleges, when was the last lecture you took? Recognize silence. I'm a principal. Very good. I know that. But answer my question. When was the last time you took a lecture? Well, I'm very busy in my administration. And I tell them very clearly, you became a principal because you are a teacher. And after becoming a principal, you forgot teaching. And I tell them 2 benefits. Number 1, if you are a principal, you have to do administration work. Nothing wrong in that. But don't forget at least 10% of your time spent in teaching, 1 lecture a week. I'm not even telling that you have to take 8 lectures. But you know what the benefit is that you will know what are the problems of the teachers. Secondly, you will understand what are the problems of the students. So one startup model is the top guys should be trained very well. Second, which again we spoke, is about administration. So you have to manage scale, you need administrative systems. And today if you look at every organization in India specifically, be it a bank, be it a university, be it the army, it is not easy. And I always say this, Britishers have their own problem. But they had great administrative system now. Isn't it true? Imagine sitting over there, they set a few goras here, and they have their own model. Right or wrong is a separate question. Imagine we had 550 princely states. They had their own model, right? They brought in Bombay presidency, then the Kolkata presidency, Madras presidency. They had their own administrative system. In the same way, every organization, Chanakya should have a great administrative system. And today we are fortunate because it can be digital. What is TCS doing? It is turning all the administration of private and government organization into digital mode. Isn't it true? How many of you made passports recently? You saw the efficiency? That is where PPP comes in, right? Can you think about an education institution where you have to conduct an exam for 5 lakh students? Easy? Physical paper correction, all those things. We have Radhakrishnan Pillai sir. In fact, his university advised him. You will be surprised. Imagine having 50,000 students and making 5 lakh students. It's an administrative headache. And let me tell you, Indians are very good in administration. We don't realize it till we go out of India. The world's largest network that has been administrated is Indian Railways. Real time. Indian postal systems, real time. LIC, real time. हम तो यार बहुत अमेरिकन है ना? I respect Americans. So the second part of process is administration with need of the people. Now third is very interesting. As we have Raja Dharma, we also have Praja Dharma. The citizens also have to contribute. हम तो tax भी pay नहीं करते. Fortunately, because of digitalization and all those things, today we have become a tax compliant nation. Are you aware of this? There was one time when people did not believe in paying tax. Gandhi ji had to tell them, Britishers चले गए, अभी तो tax दो. So coming back, look, think about it like a triangle: the top management, the leaders, administration, and the people. People also have to contribute. Otherwise, we don't even go to vote. The Saturday को है weekend gone. अरे मतदान तो करके जाओ. I mean, election is only one part of it. We have to contribute. So I think a nation is built by everybody contributing, the top management, the administrators, the bureaucrats, and also the people who come and contribute their bit of it.
Yeah, so you moved right up to the pressure that not just the Rajadhana but the Prajadhana. But this we have seen happening even in the organizations as well. The focus has moved from institution to individuals. You have there are multiple individual aspirations. We have so many millions here, and there are professional as well as personal aspirations as well. So, how are the organizations trying to manage this?
Organizations, look, this challenge has always been there with our organization. You manage individual ambitions. Then they do it through performance reward systems. There's a certain way performance gets measured, there's a certain way it gets rewarded. I think what has happened is that nowadays two things have happened. One is the range of professions are widened. Banking sector in India runs at about a 35% churn annually. There are banks which are at 50% plus, which means you begin with 100 people at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the rest is 50 left. 50 will have gone out and somewhere else. Now this was not true even 10 years ago, 50 years. So why is that happening? It's happening with two things in my mind. How to the extent I see. One is there are wider choices that are available, and there are a lot of what is popularly called big words that we are doing.
Yes.
And I think some of that is a permanent change. We are talking about change management. And organizations have to come to terms with it. The number of contract employees in all organizations have gone up. People who don't have permanent kind of employment. I am consultant. I don't have. I work as a contract employee with all my clients. And I've been doing this for many years now. So I don't have an employer-employee relationship with anyone. Right? And I think that's going to be the future. And the youngsters here, gone are the days you join an organization and stay there after 5 years. Except if you join the government. That will continue. But in private sector, I think this is going to be the future, where people will not have permanent long jobs. And the reason for that is that the whole nature of the organization has to change. 10 years ago, job titles like data scientist did not exist. Now, probably 20% of all advertisements are for data scientists and whatever. This is how organizations change. And they try to adjust. I think that will continue.
Yeah. So very quickly, because I have been talking many times on this about man management advocated by Chanakya, right from mentoring to parenting. So if you can just throw a little light on that. We're with a short time, so I understand.
Coming back to Chanakya, आपको जाता नहीं.
It is not like that.
I only know
broad perspective, broader perspective.
So two words you asked: mentoring and parenting. Everybody requires a mentor. How many startups you know? I always ask because so many universities and colleges have today what we call formally incubation centers, isn't it? I'm sure you have. When I get called to train them, I ask them the first question: what do you think is the basic requirement for any, business to succeed? So people start, idea, capital, investor, customer. Then everybody forgets one thing. The first requirement for you to succeed in your business or your entrepreneurial journey is a good mentor. Idea hai. But I tell you one thing, there are a lot of people who start with an idea, fail, go to other idea, fail, go to the third idea, again fail. But if you have a good mentor, and think about a person like Chandragupta Maurya, who is supposed to lead a complete country. Don't you think he requires a mentor? Even a Mahendra Singh Dhoni or a Virat Kohli requires a coach here. Raja ko coach nahi lagta. And let me tell you, the importance of a mentor comes during the challenges and before the challenge. And let me tell you, the most efficient person also requires a mentor. Today we have a concept in the management called CEO coaches. So let me give you an example that we are very popular with. Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was already the best warrior. It's not that he doesn't know how to lift a bow and arrow. He doesn't know who is the enemy. But he can also have some philosophical problems, right? Psychological problems. Then what do? Mentor. So Chanakya says you require a Rajaguru before and after the problem and during the problem. Second is come to parenting. And telling you friends, it's such an important topic, area of discussion that we have forgotten. We are because of our parents and very soon we'll become parents and grandparents. And there is so much literature available in this country for parenting and grandparenting. And Chanakya studied that. I'll give one sutra because time is limited. So I'll tell you a very famous sutra from Chanakya Niti. For the first 5 years, love the child. Pratama Panchavarsha Lalayati. Next 10 years, Tadayati. And after that, consider the child your friend. Now think about it psychologically. When the child is born, totally dependent on the ecosystem around, right? सुसु करेगा, चीची करेगा, मोबाइल तोड़ देगा, क्या करोगे? देखो अभी से बच्चा भगवान का रूप है. Right? Because the intelligence, the physical movements are not developed. That time for the first 5 years, love the child, feed the child, etc. But what happens after 5 years? You know, the intelligence starts developing. He or she needs to be trained what is right and wrong. And the technical what is that a child should develop what is called Viveka Buddhi. The ability to say what is right and wrong. And that time, you cannot be a parent who says, yes beta, yes beta, yes beta, right? And when I say beating, it is not physical beating. It is saying that what is right and wrong. Lot of parents, especially the young generation parents, and especially both of them are working, they believe that the child development is equal to putting them in a costly school and having a nice full-time maid. I'm not telling that you should have a maid, you should have a good school. But think, what's your role? Your role is to actually correct the child from time to time. A yes child can be a dangerous child. Because a child who doesn't know to listen to the word called no, doesn't know what are challenges of life. So next 10 years, then the child becomes 15 years. During those days, 15 years was considered adulthood. Now it's 18 years, some government says 21 years. I think in America it's 16 years, right? Whatever. So 15 years ke baad. After that, don't consider the child as a child. Consider them as equals. देखो हमारा तो रोल है ना, बच्चा कितने साल का है? 40 साल. And therefore, I always say, maybe parents need to get matured on parenting. And the last pillar, let's not forget in this civilization, this culture of ours, grandparents are also required. It's very important. We don't realize knowledge is never transferred from parents to children. Knowledge is always transferred from grandparents to grandchildren. What I'm saying, Chanakya built a society based on family values and knowledge culture.
Yeah, many thanks. We're completely running short of time. One last question from my end. You have been instrumental in many mergers and acquisitions as well. They have also changed, seen a lot of changes also. And what we may see is that it is more synergistic and fit. You have to look at the company that you are acquiring. That has to be a synergy as well as a fit. What exactly is this concept? Synergy and fit.
Yes, so mergers are like marriages.
Yes.
So like you, at least in the world, when I got married, we used to have arranged marriage. So you try to match, right? And in case of the businesses, it is really the sum should be bigger than the whole should be bigger than the sum of parts. That's the idea of synergy. And that can happen for multiple. So I don't want to give a lecture on how you pay the rate. The issue there is that a lot of that are imagined as synergies. And the challenge of a merger is always, do you realize them? And many often companies do. And as a result, you often find that stock prices go down after mergers and so on. It's because you don't really deliver what you thought would really benefits the merger. Merger is also very hard on organizations. Suddenly you had 1,000 employees, now you have 4,000 employees. And to have all your systems geared to dealing with them, which is where I earn a lot of my living, helping organizations do that. But it's very tough. It's not. Essentially, what happens is that for every role you end up having to go sometimes with 3 people. What do you do with surplus? In India, there is no culture of sacking people. The US merger happened, 30% people lose their jobs. That doesn't happen here, at least doesn't happen visibly. So you have to find ways of kind of right sizing the organization. Those are the issues that come in when you do mergers. So the idea of synergy is simply this, that the two businesses put together would be more valuable than they individually are together. So whether that happens or not is another question.
Yeah, because many times we have seen the cultural mismatch.
There are all kinds of,
between the
it's like marriage, right? So there are
Yes.
just multiple mismatches, not just cultural. But then wife can fight on many different things, as all of the married people here would know. So it's the same in organization. There are cultural mismatches, there are mismatches of practices,
Yes.
there are mismatches of styles of how people engage with each other.
Right.
There are mismatches of processes and how you do things. And all of them have to be sorted out.
Yes.
Many years ago, this happened again in my career. This is an interesting story. So there's a company called Exxon in the US.
Yes.
It's got a company called Mobil. That's why it became Exxon Mobil. And I worked on that merger as a consultant. And I remember a lot of Mobil people started leaving the organization. And they were not being sacked, and very good people were leaving. So I was asked to interview some of them. Why are they leaving? And so I interviewed some of them. This was in the UK. So one of them said to me, what is the going popular word about the mobility? The word was TBU. It stood for they bought us. And it was a very emotionally very bad phrase. That we've been it's like a new power has come and acquired our country, conquered our country. So a lot of these kinds of things you have to deal with. Because you can lose good people because of this.
Right. So any mismatch, it can, instead of giving anticipated synergies, can give paralyzing economies of scale. When that also can happen. And Chanakya has talked a lot about due diligence also. Because even before mergers and acquisitions, we go for due diligence to avoid this kind of mismatches. So I'd like to do on the mismatch.
So I take the example of Harsh sir about marriages. In arranged marriages, lot of due diligence is done by parents. लड़का क्या करता है, उसका फैमिली का बैकग्राउंड क्या है, उनका साथ बार आएगा. We think it's a joke. Let me tell you, marriages survive not just because of incompatibility, because there is a bigger reason. In spite of incompatibility, isn't it true? वो कैसे कुंडली बनाते हैं 36 में 100% मिलेगा ही. It's a myth. At the same time, why marriages are, the couple stays together because they have a larger vision. Because for the children, for parents, for society. So I would say, when companies go through tough times, as sir said, I asked this question: what do you stand for? Only profits? ठीक है यार, नया नौकरी देखो. But does the company have a vision? And will you always keep looking at the vision when problems come? Let me tell you, you'll adjust. And I've seen this in a lot of couples, companies, that when the problems are happening, they ask this fundamental question: is marriage only for you and me, or is it for the family? There will be mismatch, right? लेकिन अगर हम लोग छोड़ देंगे बच्चों का क्या होगा? Isn't it true? So I think it's very, very important to go back in mergers and acquisitions. So coming back, so anybody who's interested in the theory part of it should learn the Arthashastra in a specific chapter called as Mandala Yonihi. Imagine 2004 days ago we specialized in mergers and acquisitions. Of course, not the corporate world like today, because the generation has evolved. But imagine a small king taking over a big king. I'm not talking about a big king taking over a small king. छोटा बड़े को खरीद सकता है क्या? We don't understand all these things. So coming back to the point that right now when we say M&A or due diligence, it is limited to the corporate world. And we managers think like, corporate world is the biggest world. But acquisition happens in every field. Armies buy out armies. You know that? Governments buy out countries. So I think it's very, very important to understand that, suppose the marriages are happening or synergy is happening. I think both of them feel insecure. Try marrying, you understand? You develop a cold field. I think that insecurity is there. But you have wise people who come and say, beta, ठीक है. दो महीने की बात है, ठीक है. So I think what we require is more philosophers in this country along with technocrats. They'll help you to guide through that change management process as well. Thank you.
Yeah, though the divorce rate has been increasing, That's a company as of now. Anyway, we are completely short of time. We can do just a couple of questions very quickly and be precise about the question. And even if we have. Okay. Very quickly, your question.
Hello, sir. Myself, Yash. Actually, my question is when someone is having the other task to instead of study and with the study, so how they will manage this? And accordingly, how will it go in the life in studies and the other side of the school?
Question.
My simple answer to this is that I think your question is about time management, right? How do students manage time for study,
And the side of
other side, extracurricular activities, hobbies, etc. And today you may also have a startup. And then a joke. You know, there were 3 students. The teacher called them. Teacher one, and it's a very fat textbook. So, पहले student को पूछे ये पूरा textbook पढ़ने के लिए how much time will you take? He looked at the size, page, subject, and said that okay, I can study the whole thing in 2 weeks. Good. दूसरे बच्चे को पूछा how much time will you study the same thing? Just looked at it. I did a speed reading course 1 week. Okay, good. So somebody says 50% reduction. Third was an engineer. How much time will you take? Exam cover. The thing is that time management is actually priority management. Please understand, time management is accurately for student days. Do you think time management is easy after the student days? It's only going to get complex. Imagine you start working. Your biggest problem is how to meet your friends. So they also will be working. Instead of WhatsApp communication, you may not meet them. So coming back, I will not give a time management lecture, but remember, if you cannot manage your mind, you will never be able to manage time. And the last Indian perspective. In India, time has got various factors. Time is not only on the clock, which is also important. In our Sanskrit literature, there are a lot of terms for time. Samay, Kala, Yuga. Isn't it true? So, say Samay aa gaya बोलते हैं ना. But Kala is different. Yuga is different. And I tell you, those people who are calm and quiet in the mind can actually become better time managers, isn't it? And last point which I will make since you spoke about it, there is time management based on your biological clock also. And it's always unique, customized. It cannot be masked. Some students can study better in the morning, some in the night, and some come bottom में कुछ भी नहीं करते. So you should know your pattern, natural patterns, priority, everything put together. So it's a very deep analysis, but at the end of it, the whole thing is the results. And let me tell you, you can be a good sportsman also, a good student also, and a good son also, if you can know how to manage it.
Very nice. Respecting the time, please.
So I'll quickly ask. My name is Ashutosh Arvindrao and I'm a leadership coach. My question is about change management. During my stint in coaching and consulting and leadership, what I observed that India is a very reluctant to change country where people are very reluctant to change. Somehow सरकारी mindset हमारे इसमें आ चुका है because people are very complacent with what they have achieved or what they are right now. So, but times have changed. Everybody is compelled to change very quickly. But again, the rate at which the people should change is not gone up, has not gone up. So how to deal with people who are reluctant to change? I think both of you can answer from your own perspectives.
Because we are not unique. I work from Brazil to Japan. Everybody is reluctant to change.
So it's
People
not
are
only
very-
they can be happy.
People are very happy about change as long as somebody else has to change. I'll ask you, just go home and check the way you brush your teeth. It hasn't changed in 15 years, I can guarantee you. Small things we don't change. So this is not true of India, it's true of everybody. And I can assure you, I've seen this across countries. And therefore, change management is a challenge. If it was easy, people could change easily, why would it be considered a challenge? And remember, change happens at multiple levels. It happens at the level of individual, organization, community, society, nation, and the world. But none of the higher levels happen unless individuals change. So there are two types of changes. You get detected with sugar, you then change diet. Force change, because you have a choice of either dying or changing. That's where a lot of change actually is ultimately change ultimately happens. The more difficult is proactive change. When you don't have sugar, still you control your diet. That's harder thing to do, right? And that's where a lot of leadership is required, a lot of communication is required, a lot of many other things are required. But that's the real change management challenge. Changing when there is no crisis. Crisis is the biggest driver of change. Look at financial crisis happen, a lot of things in finance change. That's not a good way of changing.
I wanted to say to statue the way you were sitting like this. Maybe you can have the same position once again. Please, just sit like you were sitting. Yeah, just check whether your right thumb is up or left. Which one? Right thumb? Now change it the other way, make the left hand up. Which way are you more comfortable? The natural one that can be. So it's so difficult even sitting also to change the way. Most of you can try that as well. Today we continue out of time. I once again thank you both, distinguished gentlemen, for sparing your valuable time and addressing OCLF and the audience here. Thank you very much, audience as well, and OCLF.